This might be a big undertaking. I can kind of see now it's not cleaned up at all. I was just cubbies, drawers, and it only can stand upright. And I know you see the bug holes at the top, but you don't see any fresh powder. This has been probably in that booth for, I'd say, at least a year, and I look at it almost every week. So, you know, when you go, so I'm pretty sure we don't have to worry about any live infestations about having to treat it, which is just a heat gun, you know, X amount of time heating the wood up, but there's no fresh powder. It needs a lot of cleaning first before we can even get started. And I kind of do have to keep the base, so I'm going to have to reattach that piece of wood. But I got a lot of drawers to clean. I'm going to try to keep them the way that they are so I know how they go back in. I would like to paint them, but I think the biggest thing is they need clean, plain and simple. If it's a barn find and we were picking it, but that it might be a little rough in somebody's booth. Just my personal, but I'm the person going through looking for everybody's things that need help. So, and I've got a few nails coming out the back that are going to cause a few little problems. So let's see if I can get, oh no, I knocked over some of the, I really think that the slots are pretty much the same size. I think so. That doesn't mean I'm right. So there's like a nail here. And where is it coming from? I am not completely sure. So let's see if I can just pull it out. I'm going to put a back on it. Okay, so that one's out. But they'll definitely cause us some problems putting it back on if I don't get these out. I think there's just two. So this is loose. So I'm just going to reattach it with a brad nail, make sure that it stays square. It probably must have had it hanging on a wall. The easiest way to clean them out is just air. There's a lot of the bug holes where I unscrewed those. Since this is the top, I'm going to use some Bondo to fill those in just to make it look better. I wish it was going the opposite way. I wish it was long way, but this is they made it for a purpose, so So I have a few broken knobs, and I don't have any of the same ones to replace them with, but that's okay. This is where you get to have fun. It was a parts cabinet to be, hardware parts cabinet anyway. So definitely not going to take the knobs off. Look at, you have to destroy that piece of wood to even get them off. So to fill in those, I think since I have 3, let's do something fun. So I do need to fill them in with some Bondo. Now I feel like I should be singing the song 101 Bottles of Beer on the Wall, because that's all. I have a lot of little drawers to tape off. That took a lifetime, but now my Bondo should be good and dry now. So we're going to get it sanded. So the cool thing about the cabinet is these, the parts, but some of the staples are just staples. And I'm going to have to paint around them. We will figure it out. Like half of me said, okay, take them off and just do staples because that's fun. I don't know. Well, as I'm working on it, even though I like how it's distressing. Oh, geez. Now the way this sanded, I would almost have thought it made a ton of powder. So I almost would think it's a type of chalk paint maybe. And then it is coming off on my rag. I don't know. I didn't want to have to seal it in. And I might not, because I want to, I don't really want to take those little elements off. And that's what makes the Cubby so cool, is those elements. So I'm just going to figure out a paint that I can just paint thinly, just to give it a, a new color. Even though the black distressed is kind of cool, but how boring would that be if I just I don't know. Anyway, y'all. So, and see, then they stapled some of them on because it was a shop piece. This is where my nails are. They're right in here. So now I want to keep this like an industrial vibe, a lot of industrial greens do well for me, y'all. So I'm gonna mix olive and basil together. And I'm not going to seal these in with anything, no shellac or anything like that. Let it soak in. Try to go very gingerly around the hardware pieces. If I can take something out, I will, in the hopes to be able to put it back in. Tape it to the inside of the drawer so I know where it goes. So I'm going to do equal parts. That way, if I need to mix up more, I know what I need to mix up. Because that's always the thing when you're mixing your powder paints, like getting the same ratio every time. So hopefully I can do this. Did equal parts, 3 scoops of each. And I chose milk paint only because it's kind of age appropriate. Even though I'm not shellacking it and looking for any chippiness or crackling. If it does it, it does it. It'll probably just soak into the wood. But it's just kind of age appropriate when you're trying to make something still look old because it's old and handmade, and that industrial vibe of the color. I gotta stop talking so I can count how many waters I'm doing. So my thought process of the milk paint is just that, this would have been in a guy's workshop. We want to keep it the same vibe that's going on with the age of the piece. I don't want to paint it to make it look all brand spanking new, because it's not a new piece. So I think that's a good color. I think I need just, I might have only done 5. I'm not sure because it thickens up as you're working with it. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and use a fan brush just to keep it nice and thin. And I don't think I'm going to paint the knobs. I can always go back in and paint the knobs. But when you're doing it on dry wood, it's just going to soak in. So like I said, I don't know if I'm going to get that crackling, crazing that happens or not. If it doesn't, it's okay. I was almost thinking Garden Sage by the Cottage Colors by DIY, but like, oh, but then, you know, I have to chance putting a whole bunch on there, you know, multiple coats to get it to cover. So I'm like, well, if I can do this, see how it's thickening on me. So I need a little bit more water, or you can use a spray bottle. This just, I noticed that the basil color tends to like to thicken. I don't know. Do y'all notice that from color to color? Some like the darker the pigment, the more it likes to thicken on you while you're using it. But the fan brush will help me get into that detail without trying to paint. And nice thing about aging a piece is you don't have to have this, oh, I missed a spot. Oh, it's not perfect. Well, we're not looking for perfect. I always say if you want a perfect paint job, go to somebody else. I am an antique lover. I love the old primitive paint jobs, and so that's what I try to match up. I knew it was gonna fall, but it's the nice thing about it is it's milk paint, so I can wipe it off, you know, clean it off. This one will be easier because there isn't anything there. And we'll see how the knobs look. Like I said, I'm going to replace a couple of the knobs that had broken off. And the fan brush is just a little bit thinner so I can get up close and personal there. And just a few more to go. This one slid out, so I'm just going to take a piece of tape, tape it into inside, because if I don't tape it, it'll probably end up rolling out, and that way I can just work around it. Because I just sanded it until it was flat, so I want to put shellac on that, make sure that the paint sticks. I'm just going to do the brush on since that's the only place I'm going to be shellacking, especially since this is the top of the piece. Yes, I had to mix up another batch, but that's okay. I figured I would. It's just going to get thicker and thicker. And I could change out, but I don't want to clean that many brushes, and it's not that big of a piece. This is the back. This is the new back, though it's got a little cutout here. I am going to age it a little bit, but I want to sand that, you know, where Chris ripped it through the saw for me. I just want to color the inside. This is the part that's going to go in the inside. And I'm just using some Fusion's aging wax just to, because you know, you're like, oh, that is so new. Yep, because it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and, before I staple it, now I'm going to flip it and brad nail it on. Now you would think, oh, you know, put some glue on there, but the sides aren't necessarily even. So like this little edge sits down some, and this one's flush. It's just how it is. I have the little power air staple gun. So I rounded off that edge so it's not sharp and it's even. So I'm just going to take the sander to sand that a little bit. Favorite wax to pair with basil is the Jolie's black wax. Though I have my aging wax just in case I think it's going to go too dark. But that'll really pair because I didn't really want to repaint or change out those knobs. So we'll just get that black on and then to rub it in, I'll take some of the Fusion's aging. I got that rag that I used for the inside, which see how much better that is, taking the time to do that. Well, of course, I can't have the back looking all new, right? No, I can't. So I'll mix the two together for the back. I feel like the body was the easy part. Now I've got to go in and I have to sand the drawers. There's a lot of them. It'll be well worth it. The uniqueness, worth the save. I know some people probably would have gave up, but here I am. I'm doing it. See, I think that it'll go well with the knobs. That'll just, instead of them looking like they're standing out, it'll all blend in. Oh, see, it blends now. Just a lot of them to go now. I think only one ended up actually coming off for me. I think it's just easier to sand, wax, do that, and then put them in there. There. Now he's in there for good. Just a lot to get. There's a lot. Little drawers, little library poles. Make sure I have them all. I had purchased these off of Amazon. I have them in our stash. They're little. And I think that they will work out just fine. So I got to measure. Oh, there we go. 3, so. One and a half. The rest of them are in the center, so. I think that's good. And it's just a tiny little screw, so I'm just going to use my little picking tool to put a little indent. Told you, little bitty screws. Where'd my hole go? I think it's there. I just didn't see it. Okay, just 2 more to go. I had no idea how much work needed to be done. So that's just how it goes. I'd been eyeing that piece. I've been like drooling over that piece, going, okay, I like it, but I don't have room for it in my house, and it's not cost efficient for flippability. But at 50% off, I didn't even hesitate. I didn't even study them. I just grabbed and go, because there were people coming in on my shorts tail, watching her put that 50% off, going, going into that booth. So grab and go, baby, grab and go, and then just figure it out when you come along. I had no idea that it a little bit needy, but that's okay. That's my jam. I like to problem solve. I like to figure it out. So hopefully y'all were entertained by it, and I gave you a little bit of inspiration. If you have a piece like that, or you see a piece like that, what you can do with it. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and you can see what I'm up to. Bye.